It was supposed to be an ordinary afternoon, the kind where nothing out of the ordinary happens. My mother, Claire, had gone out with her friends, leaving the house quiet. Lucas, my mother's second husband, and I were the only ones at home. Lucas had always been distant, polite, but never warm. He never seemed interested in me beyond the usual pleasantries. But that afternoon something shifted. I was in my room trying on a new dress, not expecting anything unusual. I glanced at the mirror and adjusted my hair, unaware of the quiet footsteps approaching. The door creaked open, and a voice broke my concentration. "Sophie, your door's open," Lucas said, standing in the doorway. I froze. His eyes met mine for a split second, and I immediately felt my heart race. There was an unspoken tension in the air. He didn't step inside, but he didn't leave either. For a moment, everything seemed to freeze. His gaze lingered a little too long, and I couldn't shake the feeling that something had changed between us. "Sorry," he muttered, but it didn't sound like a simple apology. There was hesitation, uncertainty. He stepped back and closed the door behind him, leaving me standing there, feeling a mix of confusion and something else, something I couldn't quite understand. I tried to brush it off, telling myself it was just a mistake, but deep down I knew it wasn't. Something had shifted and I couldn't ignore it. This story is about to take a turn. If you're intrigued, make sure to subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications for more. Your support means the world. Don't forget to leave a like and a comment. The following days felt heavy, weighed down by that one moment. Lucas' gaze haunted me, though I tried to push it out of my mind. I convinced myself that it was just an awkward mistake, something that would fade with time. But the more I tried to forget, the more I found myself thinking about him. It wasn't until a few days later, at a wedding my mom had been eagerly anticipating, that everything changed. Mom had a bubbly, carefree personality, and she had invited me to join her at the wedding of a close friend. I wasn't too thrilled about going, but Lucas' presence at the event changed everything. As we entered the venue, I noticed how he carried himself, confident, charming, and undeniably attractive. The soft lighting of the reception hall only highlighted his presence, making him seem even more magnetic. I couldn't help but steal glances at him throughout the evening, and to my surprise, I found myself drawn to him more than I expected. Every time he smiled, I felt something stir within me, but I couldn't acknowledge it. It was ridiculous, wasn't it? He was my mom's husband. Then came the dance. As the music played, Mom and Lucas took the floor, moving together in harmony, both lost in the rhythm. Halfway through the song, my mom turned to me with a wide grin. "Lucas wants to dance with you," she said. "Go on, Sophie, have fun." My heart skipped a beat. I wasn't prepared for this. Lucas extended his hand, a smile playing at the corners of his lips. His eyes, usually calm and distant, now seemed to hold something different, something unreadable. "Come on, Sophie," he said, his voice calm and inviting. I could use a lesson in dancing. I hesitated for a moment, but then, caught in the whirlwind of emotions I couldn't suppress, I took his hand. As Lucas and I moved across the dance floor, the music swirled around us, but it was as if everything else faded into the background. The crowd, the lights, even my mom's cheerful laugh seemed distant. It was just Lucas and me, our hands gently touching, his palm warm on my waist. The dance felt like an eternity and a moment all at once. His touch was deliberate, but there was something else in it. Something unspoken. His eyes never left mine. For a moment I forgot how to breathe. "You're a natural," Lucas said, his voice smooth, almost too smooth. His compliment felt too intimate, too personal. I tried to focus on the steps, but my heart was racing. My thoughts were scattered, and I couldn't shake the feeling that this dance meant more than just a simple moment between a stepfather and his wife's daughter. We twirled and swayed, but the more I danced with him, the harder it became to ignore the pull between us. Every time he held me closer, my mind screamed to pull away, but my body didn't listen. I felt drawn to him in a way I couldn't explain. There was something magnetic about him, something that made it impossible to stay grounded. "You're not as shy as you used to be," he said softly, his hand tightening ever so slightly on my waist. "I like that." His words left me breathless, and I wanted to respond, but no words came. Instead, I just nodded, trying to focus on the steps, trying to ignore the way my body responded to his touch. And then, as if to test the waters, Lucas spoke again, this time his voice softer, tinged with vulnerability. "I'm sorry for the other day," he said, his gaze flickering toward the floor for a moment before meeting my eyes again. "I didn't mean to make things awkward." I didn't know how to respond. Part of me wanted to tell him it was fine, that nothing had really happened. But another part of me, the part one was trying so hard to ignore, wanted to say something else. Something more. "It's okay," I managed to whisper, the words coming out shakier than I intended. For a moment I thought he might say more, but the song ended, and we were left standing there, surrounded by the crowd once more. Lucas stepped back, giving me a small, almost unreadable smile. "Thanks for the dance," he said. "You're a great partner." The rest of the night felt like a blur. I tried to act normal, to ignore the electric tension still lingering between Lucas and me. But everything had changed. I couldn't stop thinking about our dance, about the way his hand felt on my waist, how his eyes never left mine. Each time I caught myself staring at him, I quickly looked away, hoping no one noticed. After the wedding, my mom, Claire, was in high spirits, chatting with her friends. I found myself walking with Lucas, the quietness between us uncomfortable, yet oddly intimate. We didn't say much, but there was an unspoken connection in the air. Every step we took seemed to lead us closer to something I wasn't ready to face. As we reached the car, Lucas glanced at me with a look that made my heart flutter. There was something in his eyes, something soft, almost like he was searching for reassurance, or maybe even forgiveness. "Claire's not always very considerate," Lucas said as he started the engine. His voice was calm, but there was an edge to it, a hint of vulnerability. "Sometimes I feel like she forgets about the little things that matter." I wasn't sure what to say. I wasn't used to hearing him talk like this. Normally, he kept his thoughts to himself. But tonight, it felt like he was opening up to me. "I understand," I said, my voice quieter than usual. "Sometimes we all need a little more attention than we get." Lucas nodded, his eyes focused on the road. For a moment, it felt like we were the only two people in the world. I could feel his loneliness, and it mirrored my own in some strange way. I hadn't realized how much I had been craving something real, someone to truly understand me. When we arrived home, Claire was already gone, off to a girls' night out. Lucas and I were left alone. The air between us was thick, charged with something neither of us was ready to acknowledge. He opened the car door and gave me a small smile. "Good night, Sophie. It was a strange night, but I'm glad we got to talk." I wanted to say something more, something that would bridge the gap between us, but the words felt stuck in my throat. Instead, I just nodded. "Good night, Lucas," I whispered, walking towards the door, my heart heavy with everything unspoken between us. That night I couldn't sleep. The images of the wedding, the dance, and the conversation in the car kept replaying in my mind. I had never felt so conflicted in my life. Lucas, my stepfather, had always been distant, but lately it seemed like there was something different between us. Something undeniable. I could feel it in every glance, every word we exchanged. And it terrified me. The next day, I woke up to an empty house. My mom had gone out with her friends again, leaving me alone with Lucas. I was trying to shake off the overwhelming feelings that had been building up, but as I moved through the house, everything felt wrong. I went to my room to get ready, but before I could finish, I heard the faint sound of footsteps coming down the hallway. My heart began to race as I heard the soft knock on my door. "Sophie," Lucas' voice called gently from outside. I froze. My pulse quickened. I couldn't ignore him anymore. Not after everything that had happened. "Come in," I said, barely above a whisper. The door creaked open, and there he was, standing in the doorway. His expression was different, more serious, but there was a softness in his eyes that I hadn't seen before. "I need to talk to you," Lucas said, stepping inside and closing the door behind him. "About the other night. About everything." I felt my breath catch in my throat. His presence felt overwhelming, like everything was about to change. "I don't know what to say," he continued, his voice steady but tinged with uncertainty. "I've been fighting this feeling for a while, Sophie, and I can't pretend anymore. What happened between us? It wasn't just a mistake." My heart pounded in my chest. I didn't know how to respond. What could I say? Everything inside me screamed to run, but at the same time, there was a part of me that couldn't deny what I felt. "I know," I whispered, barely able to meet his gaze. I felt it too. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. The silence was heavy, filled with the weight of everything unsaid. Then Lucas took a step forward, his hand reaching out toward me. "I don't want to hurt you, Sophie," he said quietly, "but I can't keep this inside anymore." Before I could stop myself, I reached out and took his hand. The moment our skin touched, it felt like an electric jolt ran through me. There was no turning back now. The room was still, save for the sound of our breathing. My heart raced, each beat loud in my chest as I held onto Lucas's hand. For a moment it felt like time itself had stopped. The world outside my room no longer existed. It was just us, two people standing on the edge of something dangerous, something forbidden. "I never intended for this to happen," Lucas said softly, his eyes searching mine. "But I can't keep pretending anymore. There's something between us, Sophie. And I can't deny it." The words hung in the air, heavy and thick with tension. I wanted to run, to hide, but I couldn't. Something deep inside me told me that if I didn't face this now, I would never be able to move past it. "I've been feeling it too," I admitted, my voice barely above a whisper. "But this isn't right. You're my mom's husband, and I don't know what this means." "What we mean?" Lucas's face softened, and he gently brushed a strand of hair from my face. His touch was tender, but there was an intensity in his eyes that left me breathless. "I know this is wrong. I know it complicates everything, but I can't ignore what I feel anymore," he said, his voice low and steady. "And I don't want to. I can't keep pretending that nothing's changed between us." His words sent a shiver down my spine, and I closed my eyes, struggling to keep my composure. I had always known that what we were feeling was wrong, but hearing him say it out loud made it all too real. Still, I couldn't deny the pull between us, the way he made me feel, the way his presence consumed me. "You're right," I whispered, my hands trembling as I reached for his. "I don't know what this means either. But I can't pretend either." We stood there for what felt like an eternity, the space between us charged with the weight of everything we had just admitted. And then, without thinking, I leaned into him. His lips met mine, slow and hesitant at first, but then with growing intensity. The kiss was everything, confusing, overwhelming, yet undeniable. Every part of me screamed that this was wrong, but the rest of me was lost in the sensation of finally giving in to what I had been suppressing for so long. As we pulled away, I was breathless. My heart was racing, my mind a whirlwind of emotions I couldn't fully understand. "What now?" I asked, my voice barely audible. Lucas looked at me, his gaze filled with both regret and longing. "I don't know, Sophie. I wish I had the answers. But all I know is that I can't go back now. I can't undo what just happened." And just like that, the truth was out. We had crossed a line, and there was no going back. But what did it mean for the future? Could we continue down this path, knowing it would destroy everything in its wake? The days that followed were filled with confusion and chaos. What had happened between Lucas and me was impossible to ignore, and yet we both pretended that nothing had changed. My mom, Claire, remained blissfully unaware, still caught up in her own world. But with every moment that passed, the weight of our actions grew heavier. I couldn't look at Lucas without feeling a rush of emotions: guilt, desire, shame, each one more overwhelming than the last. We couldn't even be in the same room without the tension between us becoming unbearable. Yet we both acted as though nothing had shifted, as though our bond was still the same. But it wasn't. Could never be. One evening, Lucas and I found ourselves alone again. My mom had gone out for another one of her social gatherings, leaving us behind in the quiet of the house. The silence seemed louder than ever, pressing down on me with the realization of what we had become. Two people bound together by something neither of us could fully understand or control. I found Lucas in the living room, staring out the window, his posture tense. He looked lost in thought, as though struggling with the same emotions that had been consuming me. "Lucas," I said, my voice faltering as I stepped closer. He turned, his eyes meeting mine with a mix of sorrow and determination. "Sophie, we can't keep doing this. What we did. It was a mistake. A huge mistake. And now we're both paying the price." I felt my stomach twist at the truth of his words. He was right. This was a mistake. But why did it feel like the best mistake I had ever made? "I know," I whispered, tears pricking at the corners of my eyes. But I can't help what I feel. I wish I could, but I can't. It's like something inside me is telling me that this is what I need, what I've been missing. Lucas stepped closer, his hand reaching for mine. I get it. I do. But we can't keep pretending. We can't keep ignoring the reality of this. It's destroying us, Sophie. And if we don't stop, it will destroy everything. The weight of his words hit me like a ton of bricks. He was right. But how could I stop? How could I let go of the only connection that made me feel alive? I'm scared, Lucas. I admitted, my voice breaking. I'm scared of losing you. I'm scared of what this means for us. For my mom. For everything. Lucas's expression softened. He reached up to gently cup my face, his thumb brushing away the tears that had fallen. I'm scared too, Sophie. But the longer we continue down this path, the more it will hurt. We have to let go. His words were like a lifeline, but at the same time they felt like a death sentence to everything I had felt in the past few days. He was asking me to give up something I couldn't even fully comprehend. How could I walk away from him? From the one person who seemed to understand me more than anyone else? I don't know if I can, I whispered, the fear in my voice impossible to hide. The days stretched on, each one heavier than the last. The house felt suffocating, filled with tension and unspoken words. Lucas and I had spent the last few days avoiding each other, each of us retreating into our own thoughts, trying to make sense of everything that had happened. But despite our best efforts, we both knew the truth. We couldn't keep living like this. The connection we shared, no matter how intense or consuming, was wrong. And in the end, it would only lead to more pain. One afternoon, Lucas approached me in the kitchen, his expression serious. I could tell he had made up his mind just as I had made up mine. We can't do this anymore, Sophie, he said, his voice steady but laced with emotion. I've thought about it, and it's tearing us both apart. This isn't what either of us need. I don't want to hurt you, and I don't want to hurt Claire. I felt a lump form in my throat, my heart pounding. Hearing him say it out loud was harder than I ever expected. I had known this moment would come, but it still felt like a crushing weight in my chest. I know, I whispered, my voice barely audible. But letting go of this, it's the hardest thing I've ever had to do. I thought maybe we could make it work somehow. Lucas shook his head, his eyes filled with regret. There's no way to make this work, Sophie. We've crossed a line, and now we have to live with the consequences. The only way forward is to stop pretending this isn't wrong. The truth hit me like a wave. I had known it all along, but hearing it from Lucas made it real. I wanted to fight it, to hold on to whatever piece of him I could, but deep down I knew he was right. You're right, I said, my voice breaking. This isn't us. This can't be us. The silence between us was heavy, but it was necessary. Neither of us wanted to face the truth, but we had no choice. It was the only way we could move forward. I'll leave, Lucas said quietly, his voice full of sorrow. I don't think I can stay here anymore. Not like this. I looked at him, my heart aching. I understand, I whispered. But Lucas, thank you. For everything. For making me feel like I mattered, even for just a moment. He nodded, his eyes softening. I'll never forget you, Sophie. But this is the right choice. For both of us. With those words, he turned and walked out of the kitchen, leaving me standing there, my world falling apart around me. I stood there for what felt like an eternity. The weight of everything crashing down on me. The love, the guilt, the heartbreak, it was all too much. But as I stood there, I realized something. I couldn't change the past, but I could control my future. I could learn from this, grow from it, and move forward. In time I would find peace. But it would take time. If you've made it this far, I know my story has touched you in some way. It's complicated, it's messy, but it's real. Life isn't always black and white, and sometimes we make choices that we regret. But we can always learn from them and become stronger. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this story. Do you think Sophie and Lucas made the right choice? What would you have done differently? Leave a comment below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. Your support means the world to me.